everyone. Welcome to Ghosted, Gagged, and Gay, the podcast where we unpack queer love stories with honesty, humor, and heart. I'm your host, Lone, a queer relationship coach and rapid transformational therapy practitioner. Before we dive in, I just want to say if you have ever felt like you're repeating the same relationship patterns over and over again, you're not broken. You are just running a subconscious story that can be rewritten. I work with people one on one to help them uncover that story and change it from the root. Through a 10-week program called Radiant Hearts Transformation. If that name makes your heart skip a beat, maybe it's meant for you. And now, talking about stories, let's get into today's story. Today's guest is Daphne Wright, a writer, a nurse, and a hopeful traveler with a powerful story to share. During the long days of the pandemic, Daphne wrote a book that explores aging, illness, and identity through a beautifully crafted character named Brice, an older gay man navigating life after loss and a terminal diagnosis. While the themes are deep, Daphne brings humor, humanity, and heart to the conversation. I am so excited to dive into this book, this story with you, Daphne. Welcome here.
Oh, thank you, Lane. Thanks for having me.
Daphne, first of all, can you share the name of the book with us?
It's on love and death and belonging.
So, not an advertisement, but I will include the link below if you
Thank
wanted to
you.
check it out, of course. So Daphne, like, can you tell us briefly about Bryce and his story?
Okay. Well, I love Bryce. He's fun. He's he's been, on the last third, I guess we could say, and he's unfortunately been diagnosed with ALS, and he does know it's terminal. And he has been married, and his husband died 6 years prior, so he took care of him, and he understands what that means. So, in his quest now for himself, and because he loved his partner so much, they had such a special relationship. Sadly, he has sort of divorced himself from people. He's stepped away. He's become a little more isolated in his grief. And it has been 6 years, but he's still sad by the death of his loved one. And he gets this horrible illness, and he has to figure out who's going to care for him. Uh, and that was one of my concerns why I wrote the book. The impetus was when boomers started turning 65, they were looking at, hey, I'll probably need some care in the future. And sadly, a lot of them were feeling that they would have to go back into the closet to get the care they needed. And I did attend a few, actually a town hall, and listened to a couple of documentaries on it. And it was always something that had stuck in my head. And because I found that very sad for all the hard won hell that gay people went through to get their rights.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds actually quite, I mean, the reality or like the impetus sounds like something very sad. And actually, I've never heard about that before.
Yeah.
Um, it's sad to see until today there are people who feel, even if it's not needed, but feel that they need to hide and they need to be in the closet. I feel like it's very easy to be scared again about that. Like even in the Western world, like let's say um, that you can still see a lot of homophobia going around. So just before I definitely want to dive deeper into like this like the reality or like the background or your inspiration for the book. But just kind of from Bryce's perspective, um, like as a character when you built this when you wrote this character, did you think about how his situation is affecting his love life?
Well, yes, and I guess we could look at different aspects of love. There's romantic, there's
Yeah,
friendship, there's
of course.
family. Uh, and basically, yes, I wanted to impact on, because again, he's sort of divorced himself from people. And how does he find relationship? And in this case, he finds it with two female strangers
Yeah.
who help him. It's not a romantic love,
Yeah.
but it is love, and it's how do we build community. And in the same regard, he still loves his partner, even though he's not with him.
Yeah. And how like how did it affect his like his like relationship with people? I mean, you said he divorced himself from people.
Mhm.
Um, did that like in your from your perspective, did that have any connection with how with his relationship with himself?
Well, sorry, how do you mean, may I ask?
Yeah, sure. So, like, do you feel that his relationship with himself changed, and that's why the change with the relationship with others, or like due to the sadness and the loss and so on? Do you feel like this, like over this the course of the book or the story, do you is there like a massive shift that you notice like with his with the relationship with himself, or is there something like was there already a problem? With the with that before he got to the point where he divorced himself from people.
Yeah, because Bryce he was a lot of fun, and he still is a lot of fun, and he's got a great outlook on life, considering all he's been through. And Bryce is of the era that he he was around with, just at the end of the AIDS crisis and the loss of friends and just all that fighting for rights. Uh, so he ends up. Uh, he was just a lot of fun, and he's got a lot of friends, but with the sadness of the loss of his partner, and how does he find now community? And he also, I don't know if it's happening in Germany, but in where I'm living in Vancouver, there's a lot of rent evictions. So you're seeing a lot of people getting booted out of their places. They're either rebuilding or fixing them up and selling them for a whole lot more that no one can afford. So he's lost his community with all the people that he used to live with for like 20 plus years because
Wow.
he's being rent evicted from his home. So there's a lot of change going on with him. He is true to himself. He's a wonderful person, very caring. In fact, when I was writing my book, the editor's going, Brice is so lovely. How come he doesn't have any friends? And I'm like, well, he
Oh,
does have friends, but his sadness has overwhelmed him. But yes, he does. As the book progresses, he does meet other people and does form a community. And that's one thing I wanted to show, that we can sometimes, all feel alone and feel like we're an island, but we just have to reach out, and there's always someone there for us.
yeah, that's these are really golden nuggets here. And yeah, now going back to like the original inspiration, have you witnessed that like firsthand since you were a nurse? Like,
Oh yes,
people
especially,
having to go back to the closet and so on.
well, sadly, and I mean, I remember I worked at one place. I worked the hospital I trained in, or not trained in, sorry, worked in, when I came to Vancouver. It actually became like sort of the AIDS hospital is what they used to call it.
Okay.
Even though it still does. It does many, many things, but it became a center. In fact, actually worldwide, and some of the innovations that have come out of that hospital. So and a lot of people I worked with were. It's down in the west end of Vancouver. Tons of gay people. So I was surprised that one hospital I went to work at, there was somebody who was transgendered, and everyone's going, oh, and I'm like, huh, what? I don't get it. What's going on here? That he was treated very well, but they were like, this is sort of something new. Now, this was a few years ago. I think some of that has changed quite a bit, but you do see prejudices with people, but I do believe that the care, at least where I'm working, people give really good care because you have to transcend your, you have to transcend who you are and what you believe when you are caring for people for so many
Yeah.
things, not just basically sexuality, or it could be race, religion,
Yeah, exactly.
ethnicity.
Exactly, and we always need to remember, like, no matter where we're living or who we are dealing with, we always have to be true to ourselves because that's the only way we will actually like improve our lives or live to our potential. There's no other way than that. No matter how hard it is to be true to yourself, we should always work on that and get to that point because otherwise we would just be living as actors our whole lives, and that would not feel like that would come up with a lot of issues, whether illnesses, because whatever we cannot express outside or like with the
Hmm.
regular outputs of our body, like speaking or um, just being who we are, then it will express itself in different ways, like whether illnesses, whether mental or physical illnesses. And sadly, like that's what we see like all the time, whether with clients or as a nurse. I'm sure you see a lot of cases where you're like, oh, I know this is coming from like psychological background. Or you
Yeah,
sense that.
yeah, the stress, the stress manifests in an illness. And you think like it could be a heart attack, it can be cancers, there's a mental illness, there's so many things. And I grew up in an era where you go, Psh, are they gay? And uh, it's sort of the uh, take the I don't want to say, should I say uprising of people getting their rights. And even a few months ago, sorry, I was with my hairdresser. Sadly, you may not realize it, but I do go to the hairdresser. Um, and there were one of the hairdressers, he's gay, and had a gay client. And they're talking about how wonderful things are and great, and how easy, and they don't understand that what are people talking about with gay issues, whatever. And my girlfriend, my hairdresser, and I grew up in a time when we saw people struggling that were gay and couldn't come out and couldn't be who they wanted, couldn't hold hands with someone, couldn't kiss their partner, couldn't live with their partner, for goodness sake, couldn't get married. And we're like, no, you don't get the fight. And we're telling these two off, like, think of Stonewall, uh, because that's what people can't forget. One should I know there's a history, and sometimes might think, oh yeah, here they go again. But there is a history there, and I think over here in North America, we are seeing some rights being taken away, uh, sadly, and
Yeah.
we've got to fight. We've got to fight for the rights.
Yeah, exactly. Like over the last 2 years, more and more right-wing parties all over the
Yes,
world, they're like winning and taking over and changing some laws and taking away some rights. Like here in Germany, there's like
mm-mm.
a region, like it's a small region. Uh, it's very close to where I live, and but it's a different district kind of. So it's kind of a little decentralized when it comes to like some laws. And they used to have like a Pride, like a CSD, like Christopher Street Day every year. And then starting from last year, because some right-winged politicians they won in that area, and they just completely abolished the Pride Day or like the Pride Week in that little city. And it's been now like last year, and this is the second year after it was going on for I think 5 years or 7 years now, and now it just went backwards basically.
And I will say, people, when they take away one person's or one group's rights, then they take away the next group's rights, and then they take away and this is what we all have to be aware of. It's not just, oh, that group over there, it's all of us. uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So even if it doesn't concern you or something, then if you can help, then just do it and support people who need any kind of support, basically. So yeah, thank you for sharing today, like your story and your book with us, Daphne.
Thank
What
you.
is like the last like piece of advice that you would give to the audience?
I would I hope that I'm going to cry, because I do hope that we all get to live our best lives and be who we are. And if take pride in who you are, all of us. And if you find somebody that you love, that's one of the most beautiful things. And I hope people can live free and happy and hold hands and kiss in the street. And that's what I hope we can hang on to, that we can all be. And I know they are trying times out there. And sadly, I never thought that things would be going, as you say, backwards. This is a shock, but we all just hold hands and stand together and find your
Yeah.
love.
Find your love. That's, yeah. Thank you so much. That was really heartfelt. And I really appreciate you being here on this call. And yeah, you're one of my first guests, basically.
Thank you, Lenny.
So yeah, I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for listening, everyone, to Ghosted, Gagged, and Gay. So remember, if you've got a story of queer love gone wrong or right, it can be sad, it can be funny, it can be anything in between. I would love to I would love to hear it. So use the links in the description to book an interview with me, and you might be the next guest. So until then, be kind to your heart and keep it queer.
Take care, everyone.
Okay, bye bye.